Ohio State clinches top spot in NCAA Re-Rank 1-134 after national championship win. In what was expected, Ohio State finishes the season at number 1 in the final USA Today Sports NCAA Re-Rank 1-134. Following their dominant 34-23 victory over Notre Dame in the College Football Playoff National Championship game. It's no surprise that the Buckeyes, led by a dynamic roster, have emerged as the kings of college football for 2024. Notre Dame ranks number 2 after historic run despite falling short in the championship game. Notre Dame's impressive season has them finishing at number 2, marking a monumental step for the program. It was their first appearance in the national title game since 1988. And while they didn't secure the elusive championship, their journey through the season was nothing short of spectacular. Top 10 overview following Ohio State and Notre Dame. The top 10 teams in the NCAA Re-Rank for 2024 include: Number 3 Oregon. A strong season propelled the Ducks to the top of the rankings, with consistent performances throughout the year. Number 4 Penn State. A standout team that made their presence felt in the Big Ten. Number 5 Texas. Despite losses to Georgia, their playoff victories over teams like Clemson and Arizona State secured their top 5 position. Number 6 Georgia. Even with a couple of setbacks, the Bulldogs' consistency and elite defense kept them in the upper echelon of college football. Number 7 Arizona State. A season full of promise and success propelled the Sun Devils to a top 10 finish. Number 8 Boise State. Another strong year for the Broncos, making their case among the nation's best. Number 9 Indiana. A major surprise this season, with excellent coaching and performances on both sides of the ball. Number 10 Tennessee. Proving themselves as contenders with big wins. The Vols round out the top 10. Big Ten and SEC dominate the rankings as always. The Big Ten and SEC reign supreme in the rankings. A combined 12 teams from these two conferences claim spots in the top 25, including 5 in the top 6 alone. These two conferences continue to show why they are the backbone of college football, both producing national champions and consistently strong teams year after year. Notable climbers. Several teams made notable moves in the rankings thanks to strong performances in bowl games. Number 12 Iowa State. Climbed 10 spots after a solid bowl win against Miami. Number 20 Illinois. A 7-spot improvement following a victory over South Carolina. Number 31 Navy. Jumped 11 spots after a win over Oklahoma. Disappointments and fallers. Not every team had a strong finish, and some saw significant drops in the rankings. Number 64 Oklahoma. Dropped 16 spots after their loss to Navy in the postseason. Number 21 Alabama. Dropped 8 spots after a less than stellar finish to the season. Number 42 Georgia Tech. Fell 13 spots following a bowl loss. Number 60 Pittsburgh. Dropped 11 spots after their season ended in disappointing fashion. The bottom of the rankings at the other end of the spectrum. Kent State ends the season at number 134, bringing up the rear in the rankings. The Golden Flashes finished the season winless, marking a challenging year for the program. Looking ahead to 2025 as the 2024 season concludes, all eyes are already on the 2025 season, while Ohio State and the usual powerhouses look poised to remain at the top. The next season could see new contenders emerging. Who will rise up and challenge for the crown in 2025? Only time will tell. Conclusion: Ohio State's title-winning season solidified their place at the top of the NCAA Re-Rank 1-134 for 2024. With their talent and depth, the Buckeyes will undoubtedly be a team to watch in the coming seasons. Meanwhile, Notre Dame, Oregon, and the rest of the top 10 showed they have what it takes to compete at the highest level of college football. 2 years in a row, Big Ten teams are taking the college football spotlight, while SEC fans are left watching from home. Ohio State's victory has left a mark on the college football landscape. What's behind this Big Ten surge? Let's dive in. 1. Big Ten's back-to-back championships, a new era. Ohio State's national championship win over Notre Dame marks the second consecutive year the Big Ten has claimed the title, a feat that has SEC fans scratching their heads. It's hard to believe, but after over a decade of SEC dominance, the tides seem to be shifting. For the last 17 years, SEC teams won 13 national titles, with Alabama and Georgia leading the way. But now, it's 2 years straight for the Big Ten, with Ohio State clinching the title this year after Michigan's victory last year. The question is, what's changed? 2. The rise of the Big Ten. What's different? Years ago, Big Ten teams were almost an afterthought in the playoff picture. When they made it, they were often overpowered by SEC teams. But this isn't the case anymore. Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti credits Ohio State and Michigan for incredible runs. And a lot of it has to do with how college football is evolving. With changes like NIL, name, image, and likeness, and the transfer portal, college football has become more unpredictable. The Big Ten's ability to retain top talent through NIL and the transfer portal has helped level the playing field. Ohio State, for instance, brought in crucial transfers like former Alabama safety Caleb Downs and Ole Miss running back Quinshon Judkins. 3. The sex-changing landscape. The SEC still has resources and top-tier talent, but the playing field has been leveled. With the rise of NIL, schools like Ohio State and Michigan can now compete financially with SEC powerhouses. And it's not just about money, it's about how that money is used to retain key players and bring in new talent. Ohio State's success shows that there's more to the equation than just stacking top recruiting classes year after year, which Alabama and Georgia had perfected. The Big Ten is now tapping into this new dynamic, using NIL to keep star players and even lure talent from other conferences. 4. Big Ten's growing power. What does the future hold? With Ohio State and Michigan now both rising to the top, it's clear that the Big Ten is no longer just a contender, they're a force. And it's not just about these two teams. Penn State, Indiana, and Illinois are all stepping up with strong recruiting and transfer portal activity. It's not going to be a Big Ten pride chant anytime soon. But the Big Ten is certainly holding its own. This isn't a one-off for the conference. They've set themselves up to be a major player in college football for years to come. 5. Conclusion. The end of SEC dominance? So, is the sex dominance over? Not entirely, but with 2 straight national titles for Big Ten teams, it's clear the landscape is changing. The SEC may still be the conference to beat, but the Big Ten is more than ready to step up and challenge them. What do you think? Is the Big Ten here to stay on top? Will the SEC bounce back? Let us know in the comments below. And make sure to like and subscribe for more updates on all things college football. College football fans, thanks for watching. The sex reign at the top of the college football world just got some serious competition. For the second year in a row, it's a Big Ten team taking home the national championship. Ohio State defeated Notre Dame 34-23 in a thrilling game that left the SEC watching from home. So, what's going on here? Is the Big Ten making its move to the top? And what does this mean for the SEC? Let's dive in. 1. Ohio State takes the crown. Back-to-back titles for the Big Ten. That's right, for the second consecutive year, a Big Ten team, this time Ohio State, claimed the national title. Just last year, Michigan was the team to celebrate. And now it's the Buckeyes' turn. And it's hard not to hear the chant of SEC. SEC, ringing from the Big Ten's rivals. But this time, those chants were nowhere to be found. Ohio State's victory over Notre Dame marks a massive shift in the landscape of college football. The SEC, for the first time in a long time, is left watching from home. So, does this mark the end of the sex dominance? Or is it just a temporary blip? 2. SEC dominance, a legacy challenge. For most of the last 2 decades, the SEC was untouchable. From Alabama to Georgia, LSU, Florida, and beyond, the SEC dominated college football, claiming 13 of the last 17 national titles, including a stretch of 7 consecutive championships. Alabama alone won 6 titles in this stretch. But for the last 2 years, that dominance has been challenged, first by Michigan, and now by Ohio State. The Big Ten isn't just knocking on the door anymore. They're walking right in, and it's making the SEC and the rest of college football take notice. 3. The changing landscape. NIL and transfer portal impact. What's driving this change? The answer lies in NIL and the transfer portal. With players now able to earn money and transfer more freely, the playing field has leveled. The Big Ten, led by schools like Ohio State and Michigan, is tapping into these new systems in ways that could threaten SEC supremacy. Ohio State's success this season wasn't just about